Midwinter crappies can get tough to catch when winter hits its deep freeze. Up next, we'll show you locations and tactics to beat the chill and fill a pail with wintertime slabs. Jon Thelen's Destination Fish is brought to you by Lindy Fishing Tackle, Striker, and L&M Fleet Supply. Ooh, that looks like a decent fish coming up. You can see him on the bottom. There's fish milling around. They're just not to that point yet where they're firing, but they're here. Ooh, that one looks like he might be a decent fish. He's coming hot. He's gonna hit it. There he is, got him. That one came from a long waves and you could just tell that that fish was gonna hit it. Good crappie. Good crappie. Look at that. Holy smokes, is that cool. We just got out here, just got everything set up. And I'll tell you, these fish are gonna fire it. I just got a real good feeling about it. We've got high pressure and we've had it for a couple days now. It's warmed up and all of a sudden these fish, they're just gonna get more active at this time of the year. All of a sudden, after a deep freeze like we've had, you know, you get these January deep freezes and I'll tell you what, they can be hard on fishing. But as soon as you start seeing things change and all of a sudden it starts warming up a little bit, fish like that, they're gonna get active. And boy, this guy, I mean, you'd see him coming. I mean, he came a long ways. I watched him on that Mega Live coming in from a long ways off to the side, 15, 20 feet. And he just kept coming and coming and coming. Great way to start. Talk about baits, because I just made a quick little change. This is the time where the crappies are going to be the least active. Look at this one, nice fish. Look at that. They're going to be the least active right now of the whole season, okay, during the coldest time of the year. Okay, so when you get a day like this where you get that little bit of January thaw, great time to be out crappie fishing. But something else to point out, I'm gonna pop that out of his mouth, show you that fish. And then I wanna show you something, because you know what? A quick change made this fish bite. This is a tungsten toad. Now here's the thing about this tungsten toad that is really, really cool. That little tungsten jig right there comes in 3 different sizes, a size 14, a size 12, and the size I'm using right now, a 10, and that signifies the size of the hook, okay? When I'm fishing crappies, that's when I use the size 10, because they've got a bigger mouth, so I'm gonna use that little bit bigger hook. And then what I did, I just switched and put this down there because I've caught the first couple fish on a rattling flyer spoon, and what that is, that's a 16th ounce rattling flyer spoon. I mean, I would call this, when it comes to crappies, the aggressive side. That rattling flyer spoon's got a rattle in it, glides out to the side of the hole a little bit. If you've got fish just coming in and looking like these though, don't be afraid to just grab that tungsten toad rod sitting right next to you and drop this down, because I'll tell you what, a lot of times they just need something a little bit more subtle, maybe a little bit smaller. There he's got him. Well, they're starting to get active. I'll tell you that for sure. All these fish are starting to fire. Yeah, good eater size crowd. Look at that one. Not a giant, but a heck of a dinner fish anywhere you go. Got him back on the rattling flyer spoon. It's just that case of switching back and forth and keep going back and forth, and you know what? Sooner or later, you're gonna find what each little specific pot of fish wants. Hey, real quick, well, I got this rod up here. One thing I want to show you, when I'm fishing a spoon that's got a rattle in it, like a rattling flyer spoon, I want to barely be moving that spoon, okay? But I want to be able to engage the rattle. So I'm using a 32-inch tuned up custom Fusion. This Fusion's got a little bit stiffer tip, and it's the perfect rod for fishing a spoon when it comes to small spoons for panfish. When I'm dropping that tungsten toad down, that's when I'm going to the precision noodle. And the idea behind this is this rod is designed specifically for fishing a tungsten jig. And when that crappie grabs a hold of this, he doesn't even feel that tip, but yet I can see it. So there's no need for a spring bobber. And when I set that hook, I've got that little bit of backbone that you really need, because it's such a fast action rod. Jon Thelen's Destination Fish is brought to you by these fine sponsors. comes one coming up fairly hot. Yep, there he is, got him. It's amazing how you can see that and just know when you're watching these mega live units. You know, one of the things that I think is so cool too is with these new shuttles. Oh, nice crappie. Look at that one. Perfect, nice fish. One of the coolest things about these mega live units now is with this new shuttle. I'm running the Humminbird Helix 8 on this one, but with the new shuttle, I've actually got both transducers in the water. I've got a live transducer in the water, and I've got my normal 2D transducer in the water, and with the press of a button, I can flip back and forth. I mean, it's so simple to just hit that button, go over to my flasher in 2D, and then come back to my Mega Live, and it is just simple. I'll tell you, at the end of the day, it just gives you the best of every world. There's no doubt about the fact that I can see everything going on down there below me, and then you tie in that Lake Master mapping, and I'll tell you what, you just can't beat it. It's mid-January. We're fishing 33 feet of water near the base of a hole. Lindy Rattling flyer spoons and tungsten toads tipped with minnow heads and waxworms are doing the trick. Air temps are rising through the mid-20s and winds are calm, making for perfect conditions and a hot bite. Little school in here now. It's funny how it'll work. You know, at this time of the year, get into this midwinter time frame, they're pretty predictable. They're in the holes. You know, the weeds have died off now. But here's the thing about it. You just got to find where they're roaming through the holes. And this is part of the reason that I'm using a spoon with rattles, this rattling flyer spoon. You want to grab their attention because now's the time where you're trying to call them from a longer way away. Earlier in the year, they were probably on the shoreline side of every hole. And I know that's where I'm going to start because that's closest to the weeds. By this time of the year, you start getting in a scenario where a lot of these fish, they're roaming all over mid-lake holes. So it's a little bit more complicated to pinpoint exactly where they're going to be when you start. So ultimately, you want to use a lure that's going to call fish to you too, because it's going to be a little bit tougher to pinpoint that exact spot to drill. So you want to just keep fish coming through to you. And at this time of the year too, that was a little fish. He was just banging away on it and I missed him anyway. But at this time of the year too, they're just roaming more. They're looking for more bait. They're looking all over, and their radius in this hole gets a heck of a lot bigger than it was earlier in the year where they were on the spots that were, you know, more adjacent to shorelines. There he is, got him. Had a feeling we were gonna stick one of these fish. There were just too many of them there. That was a case where I dropped the spoon right back down into them too. And you know, sometimes that'll make a difference. You know, we always think of fish and crappie super high and up above them. That time, I went right down into them. That's a good fish right there. Look at him. Awesome crappie. Man, I'll tell you, it's a great opportunity. Midwinter crappies. But do the 1-2 punch deal that we've been doing because it'll help you out. It'll make a big, big difference. Go into it knowing that you're going to have to fish aggressive to get some of them, and some of them you're going to have to fish subtle. And if you do that and you're set up for both scenarios, I'll tell you what, crappies like that are going to be loaded up in the pail, and you're going to have a lot of these bites all to yourself because so many people are focused on walleyes right now that they're missing this bite. This is a lot of fun. It's a great fish. That was some fun crappie fishing right there. Hey, before we go today, I want to tell you a little bit about a couple of products that I use. Number one is this Nomad UTV topper. They come in a couple different configurations. You can get them in a full box or this low profile. They're all aluminum, they're lightweight, and I tell you what, they are built to handle anything you throw at them. Check them out at nomadmn.com. And then up on the front of my machine, see my Jaws of Ice auger carrier. Here's the thing that's great about the Jaws of Ice. It fits perfect on my snowmobiles. I use it on my side-by-side and I use it on my four-wheeler as well. Simple in and out system with the clamps, so you know that the auger's not gonna go anywhere. It's good and secure, but on top of that, it's easy to use. Check them out at jawsofice.net. Hey, thanks for joining us today. Be sure to check back next week for another great episode of Jon Thelen's Destination Fish. Jon Thelen's Destination Fish has been brought to you by these great sponsors.